guys, Tony here from Caveman Props. A little bit of a kind of special video today. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're a regular subscriber, you may remember that I actually launched Caveman Props 4 years ago now. I didn't post my first video until September, so we're coming up for that. So I kind of wanted to do something today to kind of celebrate the 4 years of running Caveman Props and doing tutorials. I know I've been a bit lax in doing some of the tutorials lately, so I kind of wanted something special. So I went back, and the very first video I posted, if some of you remember, is I made a Earthshock Cyberman helmet from Doctor Who out of EVA foam. It was a yoga mat I picked up quite cheaply. So I kind of wanted to do something to celebrate that, and I'd been thinking for a little while since making that I wanted to make the Earthshock's gun. So today, that's the tutorial I'm going to do for you. Is I'm going to make that gun as kind of a tribute to the helmet that I made 4 years ago. Now I'm going to be doing this quite easily on a budget, because I know a lot of people have done other tutorials on this or build them and they make it quite intricate. I want to make it quite simple, easy, so pretty much anyone can do it. And to start with, I'm going to be using this crisp tube. I'm picking this particular crisp tube because it is a little bit thinner than the normal ones, so it kind of more fit into the exact size, and also the bottom and the top are cardboard, so it's going to be slightly easier because I'm not going to have to get a tube to go through the middle. So that's with that. So it's going to be a little bit easier for me to use this one than some of the other tubes. They kind of have the metal bottom. Also the fact that because it's got the tube, the lid that's removable like this, I'm going to build the head section on here, and then that's going to go into there, and I'm going to build the handle section on the back here. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do some drawing up. We're going to look at that and start adding pieces to this to sort of make it. I don't know if they still do these tubes. I saved this one a little while ago, obviously to do this project, and never got round to it, so I had this sitting in the workshop, which I found. So let's see if we can crack on and turn this into a Cyberman gun. Okay, so I've made a bit of a headway, and we're back in the studio for a little bit. Obviously just excuse the mess that's around my cutting mat. So I've cut 3 circles. These are about the same what do we say, diameter and circumference as the tube. I've also used a smaller piece of the PVC piping that I'm going to use and punched a hole out through the middle. This one fitted into the lid quite nicely. I've not even glued that, and that's in there nice sturdily. And basically what I'm going to do is one of these will fit in the bottom here. I've already cut the hole out in the cardboard, which makes it handier being cardboard, not metal. And the other one of these I'm going to put somewhere in the middle, so I'm just going to suspend that in. That's going to be glued in, and basically that's going to work. So that'll be there, that one will be there, the tube will go through, and the tube will then be quite stable because it's got 2 there, and then when this last one goes on, that will make it extra stable, and it will connect to the handle as it comes out the back here. So I'm going to get them put in. What I've also done, whether I can get it under here, is I've done a sketch out of the gun. I've used the diameter of the tube, the length of it. I've then worked out where the tube through the middle is going to go, and then sorted out the rough diameters of the handle. And I'm going to use this as my template to create the handle. But by doing this, I've got the template there, but it kind of gives me an idea of length of the tube here. I'm going to need about 42 centimeters. So a little bit of it will go into the handle here to secure, and then a little bit of it will poke out the end here, ready to take the nozzle end of it. Okay, so I'm going to use this and get the handle done, get the bits in the tube here, and get the PVC piping ready for that. So that's the next job. So I'm going to crack on with that and then show you where we're up to. Okay, right, so I've glued the pieces into the tube now, so they're nice and secure already. I'm going to cut the piece of PVC piping, get that ready. I've cut out the template for the handle, and then what I've done is I've got this EVA foam. It's a little bit harder than the stuff I normally use, but also the beauty of it is it doesn't have the pattern on the other side, so it's flat both sides. So I've managed to stick 2 pieces of the 10mm and a piece of the 5mm in the middle. I probably could have done with 3 pieces of 10mm, but I'm kind of limited on this, and I could have ordered some in, but I'm kind of trying to do it with what I've got here at the moment. So that's going to be big enough. So I'm going to get the scroll saw out. We're going to cut that pattern out. So that will be the handle, get the tube, and we can start putting together, and we'll start seeing the gun form. Okay, so I've cut that out. I went a little bit funny here because I was putting it through the scroll saw and not realised that I had something connected to the bench and it started bending this bit. So I was kind of fighting against something. So word of warning, always make sure you're clear around. But there is our basic shape for the handle that we're going to have. What I'm going to do now is I extended this bit just a fraction, because obviously the tube where it's going to connect to is round and this is now flat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Dremel, and I'm going to try and create a little bit of a curve in that bottom base bit so it will fit to the tube a lot better. I don't need to put too much of one in, it's going to be fine. So I'm going to get the PVC pipe cut, and once I've done that I can actually start putting all of this together. Okay then, right, so I've charged the head a little bit, I've cut the piece of PVC pipe, I've also taken my little bit that I used for making the holes and whatever, and I pushed it into the base here. So this piece of PVC pipe actually goes in about this far, so it's kind of got some, it's not just connected to the outside, it goes in. So it goes into there, and it was glued in, and then obviously it's been glued to this bit, and it's been glued to the bit in the middle. So now it's quite sturdy, and obviously I managed to get a good curve in that that's worked quite well. So the gun is starting to take shape. I've also added a little bit of detail in there. I know there's some other details there, but I'm not going to worry about that for the moment. And some bits on the handle grip. I'm going to leave them for the moment because I kind of have a plan on that, which I will show you when we get to. So the main part of the body's done, it just needs some extra detailing adding to it, which we will sort out. But now I'm going to concentrate on the nozzle end. So once I've got that all fitted, that's going to go on there. So we're going to need the nozzle on there. So I'm going to start working on that piece, and then start putting everything together. Right guys, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I've done my usual thing of getting so engrossed in what I'm doing, I kind of sprinted straight ahead and completed the nozzle section. So I'm going to basically talk you through what I did with this. I found another cardboard tube that's a little bit smaller for about the right size what I wanted, so it would fit inside the lid piece. So I cut that to the right size. I think I went for about 13 centimeters. Cut that in, glued that in, and then I got some of the offcuts which I used on the handle of the 10mm, cut a small strip of it and glued it all the way around the outside here. I've lined up the seam with the seam of the cardboard tube. That's going to be the bottom of the gun, so it will kind of be hidden, but I kept all the seams exactly the same. Then in the other, which is about 7mm floor mat craft foam, cut another 2 strips because obviously it's a little bit smaller and a little bit easier, and glued them round here just apart. Then using the 5mm foam that I have without the textured back, cut these bits so they are 1/2 centimetre at the top, 1/2 centimetre at the bottom, and this size is, I've forgotten what this one was, but anyway I measured it between the two and did that so it kind of tapers. And then what I did was I stuck one here where the seam was, and then I basically went, right, where's the other one going to go on the opposite side, glued that, then glued the other 2 corners. So I kind of went that way, and then from there I could go middle, 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 and then from that I just went the middle, last one in. I don't think that needs any more. I know on the originals they're quite a lot closer together, but I quite like the look of that, so we're going to go with that. So basically I'm going to heat treat that, give it some PVA, prime it, spray it silver, and that should be done, and that will go on the base of that, and obviously then starting to really look. So I'm going to get that done, and then we'll start adding some details here, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with the section here where the red bits are. Right, so why the nozzle piece is drying, I've moved on with a little piece of this. What I've done is I've measured back from the tube here, I think it's about 13 centimetres. I gauged this to be the right length for the front darker piece with the red panels, and then this is going to be the back bit, and it's about 24 centimetres in circumference of the tube. So I kind of find the middle here, and I measured out 3 centimetres either side, and then 60 centimetres out either from that to kind of find these line bits. And I just cut a strip of foam which went around the middle bit here for some more detailing, and then these strips, and I basically glued them along the line there, and because I kept them long I folded them around the ends and then up this bit. I did that before, and then obviously I added extra ones in here. These were actually offcuts of these. I had to cut another strip of foam just to finish off. That added all the detailing around that bit and sealed that bit off quite nicely. I then stuck a little bit on here. This is one of the pieces, I've used a piece of PVC pipe to make some holes in pieces before. This could very easily be one of the bits out of this. So I stuck it on there as the button, but then I realised the button is supposed to still be black, and maybe I should have done that after I painted it to save me some trouble, but we're going to go with it anyway, see how we are. So that's where we're up to. So very simple detailing I've added there. There's some more details to go on here, but I'm going to do that after it's been painted. So at this stage, this is now going to get a heat treat and then going to be primed up, and I'm going to explain to you what I'm going to do with the painting. Okay then, right, so I've taken this out. This has all been heat treated and then sprayed down with the plastic primer. I let that dry, and then basically I sprayed this bottom piece red. I had a nice bright glossy red one for that, obviously up to there. What I'm going to do now, that has dried, it's at least touch dry, it's not finger dry, so I'm going to use a little bit of low-tack masking tape and some paper. I'm going to mark that bit off, and then this bit's going to be sprayed silver. We're going to let that dry, and then we're going to start adding the details to it. Okay, I've got me a piece of paper and masking tape. I'm trying to put as little masking tape onto the paint as possible, so I'm using the smallest bit. So I've just got to get it lined up. So I don't want it to stick too hard, because you've got to start lifting the paint up. Is that close enough? Because this is going to have a bit over, so the seam line doesn't have to be spot on. Right, so that's masked that off, so I'm going to spray this bit silver, get this bit off, and then obviously let it all dry, and we'll start adding the details to it. Alright then, so the silver dries a lot quicker than the red did, so that went on quite well. I'd sprayed it. Once I got it all sprayed, I took the masking tape off straight away. Obviously it doesn't all line up, and it's not even, but there is a section that's going to be going over the top of this, so that's not going to be seen that well. And I wanted to come away from these bits because it's going to go up against them. And that bit is this section. This is a piece of foam, the same as I've used for here. It's I believe a yoga mat, so it's foam on the top. It's got this plastic textured bottom to it. So I'm in two minds whether I'm going to do the plastic bit around the outside or do the foam bit on the outside. So I think I'm going to go with the foam bit on the outside. That's if I can get it to stick to that. If not, that way it's probably going to be a lot better. I'll have to have a think about that, aren't I? But yeah, so this is going to wrap around that section. Literally what I did was do 24 centimetres, which is the circumference, and I know I wanted these bits to be about 1 centimetre, so I measured in 1/2 centimetre, knowing there was going to be 4 of them. I knew that I had 20 centimetres to play for the window, so that was 5 centimetres a window, and basically just did it that way. So each one of these is 1 centimetre, and the two end ones are 1/2 centimetre. So that will go around the outside here, and add that detail into it. And okay, I managed to get that on. I did try to do a video of it, but I ended up swearing a few times because it was a little bit difficult, so obviously I won't be showing that piece. But it's gone on there quite nicely. I have made a little bit of damage to there where I've pressed down when it was sitting on the cutting mat. but it's on there and it's starting to really take shape. Now I'm going to use some of this foam again, but with the texture background. I'm going to cut some strips and they're going to go in there for detail, and we're just going to add a few bits to the handle just to finish it off. So I'm going to cut some bits out and we'll start putting them on. Slowly getting there, it's slowly starting to look more and more like the gun. Okay, so I've stuck some panels on here, just a simple foam with the plastic back. If you don't have the plastic back, just a piece of dark foam would do the trick. I've stuck one on the bottom that obviously gives it a little bit better as it sits because this bit's raised. And yeah, and then I stuck a couple of little bits on the handle here. There's going to be some more bits that go on here. What I've done is I've cut some long strips, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these, start from the underside, and I'm going to wrap these bits round, and they're going to be the handle grips that go down that way. So we're going to see what we can do with that. Obviously I've kept it long deliberately, and what we're going to do is we are going to make it just trim it off as and when. So I'm going to do something like that. It's going quite well. Trying to spread the glue on thinly so it kind of dries but then doesn't, there's not loads of it to spill out. And obviously because it's the foam, it's drying quite quickly, so I should be able to work my way around this quite quickly. If I put that bit under there, and then what I'll do is I'll just measure that off. So we've got there, so I'll just trim that bit off, glue the last bit in, and then add some more as we go in down the handle that way. Right, so there we are. I've finished off that bit on the handle. I've added a few extra bits here, so that is really starting to take shape. All that's really left now is to put the nozzle section on, and I've completed that here. I put another piece of plastic pipe in the middle here. This middle bit, this was part of a racking system, so this bit curved, which I thought was perfect shape. The racking system broke, but I kept lots of the pieces of pipe because they come in handy. And so basically I'm going to glue that one in with the seam facing down, and that will go on there. So we might as well get that done now, and then everything should be finished. So some nice glue around this bit, and once this goes in, it's not going to be able to come back out again. And I know some people do these, they make this red bit transparent and add lights into it, but I was going for effect and the cost of it. Slide that in. Oh, now you see that's starting to really look perfect, and I'm really quite happy with that. So we're just going to let that bit glue in and dry, and it's a completed gun. Okay, right, there is the finished gun. That's all dried in quite nicely. Thinking about it, I probably should have made this bit of foam a little bit so that went in up to there, but I don't think it really makes that much of a difference, and I'm really kind of liking the look. I'm glad I used a gloss on this because it adds that shiny bit to it and makes it look a little bit better. Obviously I've added some bits and pieces of foam around the handle bit here. These pieces were actually the pieces that came out the middle of this, so obviously no wasting going on there. And obviously these strips fall off the bottom of that. So in fact I think at the 5mm foam that I've used here, doing all of these bits and this bit and these, I didn't really use much more than a piece of A4 size foam. The same with the 5mm foam of this one, and all of these bits were pretty much offcuts, and these were the bits that I had left over. So if I had to put a value on all the materials that was used, I'd actually say this cost me under £10 to build. All the bits I had laying around, so I haven't actually go out and buy anything because I already have it. But I think this looks quite good. I'm quite pleased with it, and on a budget, and it can sit now next to the helmet and look beautiful. So there we are. We hope you enjoyed this. Please like, please subscribe, add comments if you wish to. I'd love to hear from you. Tell me what you think. If you built your own one, if you use this, or whether you did something different. It's always nice to hear what other people are doing, or whether this has inspired you into making your own. But you know, thanks for looking. Like, subscribe, Check us out on Facebook, and hopefully I'll have the next video for you very soon.